Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel first of all. Today I'm just going to do some painting really. I finally have a bit more time on my hands. I have a part-time job just basically to pay the bills. I started that about a year and 3 months ago, just before the pandemic hit. It was only meant to be part-time so I could pay the bills and maybe have a little bit extra just to help with, well, investing in my art practice. But obviously the pandemic struck and I just decided to go full time just to get myself through it. I'm pretty much, so I've asked to lower my hours back down, so still working a little bit, not so much anymore. I definitely want to invest some more time into my art because I feel like this last year and a half has just disappeared because I've pretty much just been working the whole time, which is a good thing because obviously I've had something else to concentrate on. But now I want to really focus on my practice, and I thought a good way to start getting back into it is just to paint. I am pretty much a drawer and painter. How I describe my practice is a mark maker. It just happens to be sometimes I'm in watercolour or paint in like oil painting, drawing and printmaking. I'm not restricted to one piece of medium. I just kind of do what I want really. I do what I want to produce. I never really make a piece of art for someone else. I always make it for myself. I'm very critical of myself, but in a very good way. So that's all said. Yeah, I'm just going to carry on with this oil painting. I did start it a while now. I think it was about 6 months ago. I know, how bad am I? I did a first impressions of a oil paint kit that I got given for Christmas. Still using the same paints. I've gotten to the point where I've just kind of stopped and I need to carry on basically because it's still in this first stage. There's 4 stages, so this first stage where you just kind of get all the shapes and tones ready, then you add more layers as you wait for it to dry, and then you carry on putting in small bits of detail and work from the background all the way up to the foreground. And at the moment I'm in, like I said, stage 1. We've got a long way to go, but sometimes you can find that I go from stage 4 into stage 1 within an hour and then it's done. I get to a point where I just don't want to do any more to it, and I'm like, okay, that's actually it, I'm finished. Because I actually end up procrastinating, believe it or not. I actually don't end up touching the painting at all. This definitely isn't one of those cases. This is just I haven't had the chance to work on it. So we're going to work on it today. The tool that I'm going to be using isn't my scraper this time, which is what I've done for the main composition. I'm going to be using a silicone nib. So I've got like a variety of different shapes on the point. I find them so much easier than paintbrushes because one, I can't ruin them. You can literally just peel off the oil paint, and these just have much more interesting ways of marks. And also if you've got a little bit left of the paint on the nib, it won't interact so much with the other colours that I'm putting onto the canvas. So with that said, I'm just gonna crack on really. I'm working from a photograph as well. It's this photograph that I took from when I went to Ingleton Falls, if I've said that right. I'm so sorry if I didn't. It's somewhere in Yorkshire. It's only about an hour and a half drive from where I live at the moment. So I'm just gonna carry on and see how we do. I might intervene the oil paints from the set, of the first impression set. I can't pronounce it, I'm so sorry. With my Winsor Newton ones, just because they have some better colours that I think would work better with what I've got, because at the moment this is looking very warm. Actually the setting of the photograph is quite quite cool, but we'll see how we go. Like I said, I won't finish it today, by the way. I'm just going to try and jump back in. Even just doing a half an hour to an hour's worth of art, even if it's like research or just like drawing something, tends to help me doing a little bit each day. It does really help. I really want to put the blue crystals in, which like when we went it was just frozen, so I think I'll just start with that. So I can always edit over it. It may look really extreme in terms of colours, but for me it works. It's just to give me a pinpoint to work around what we've got already. obviously aren't this blue in real life. It's just something, so I'm not floating around trying to figure out where pieces are. Nice kind of blue though. Excuse me. Okay, I think that's all like the ice bits. I can always add them in later on. I want to put in, there's loads of like lines towards the top where like branches and that are coming out. It's a very weird white colour, but it's more of a pearl colour, so I can't use a plain white for it. I'm going to have to use like a skin coloured colour for it. I know it's not exactly going to be the right colour, but this is the closest I've got for it. I mean, this is just for to pinpoint, that's the word. I was trying to think of the word. One thing I've noticed with these Rowler, I'm going to call it Rowler now because I can't keep calling it First Impressions oil paints, it's too long, is that it's very thin, but for me that's quite a good thing because you can just build up colour. Obviously if you want thicker paints, I would suggest Winsor Newton. You are paying a bit more for a premium brand, but what you get out of it is just fabulous. So at least you can thin it down, because trying to thick up oil paints, you can do it. One of my art friends, she uses filler. Obviously that's the cost of what is already an expensive medium. It's not as expensive as some mediums out there, but still. can hear all the birds. I've got my back window open. It's, they're very happy at the moment. Quite faint lines, which is quite nice. There's obviously everything, you don't have to paint everything that's on the photograph, so I'll leave it like that for that top bit. Got some left over on my brush, I'm just going to add in the last bits. I like to bounce around the oil painting, not because I get bored, but because you're not doing the same marks over and over, which become quite tedious. For me, it's nice to make a change. Just darkening some areas with the Winsor Newton. Some areas are already pretty dark, but I just want to darken it a bit more. It's really nice to work with oils as well, because it's just nice to do any form of art, because even though you're seeing this point, you can't see what I'm painting from. I've shown you it, but you can't see exactly what I want, because I can so sneakily leave things out if I find them a bit too hard. But obviously, I won't do that. So it's like this weird grassy moss area around, well, it pretty much covers most of it. That's why I'm doing all the dabbing bits, just putting some darker bits in, but it's mostly a very lime green. So what I'm going to try and do is incorporate that, because I've already got the base colour for it, but it's kind of like not solid. I'm just kind of like dotting it about, so it's kind of like that sort of texture, which is rather hard to replicate because it kind of mixes in, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. Because the painting's never straightforward. Something like that kind of texture. This area is much more lighter than that area, as you can tell from the base plan, but it's dead hard to kind of replicate. All the greens that you always get is too green. Like, this is just too much. It's such a fake green that it really puts me off, so I try to avoid it, using it as much as possible. But if you mix it in with a bit of yellow or white, that seems to sort out the fakeness of it. Just a random fact for you. Well, not fact. Okay. hoping in the next 5 minutes that this will just kind of have a bit more depth to it. That's what I was hoping, but I forget how long it takes for this to actually not working. Well, fun fact as well, I normally have about 5 or 6 paintings on the go. I never just have one. I can never just stick to one. I just get not bored, just sidetracked. But I think I'm not the only person. I can never just stick to one painting and just solely do it. I think I just get not bored, like I said, sidetracked, but yeah, I'd say bored of the same old mark making technique. And you should really enjoy art. You shouldn't have to find it tedious. There's just so many layers to this painting. It's kind of like, oh my god. Which means a lot of working and then waiting for it to dry, because oil paints take a week to dry, which is probably why it takes some people so long. Well, a lot of the famous artworks, painting should we say, took really long, probably because they're doing the same, waiting for it to dry to then work on top of. Okay, I think for now I'm going to leave that. I know it doesn't seem like I've done very much in about 25 minutes, but it's an extra layer and it's very much more, like you can tell features a bit more, and even though I've just pinpointed some of the main features, it's just nice to be able to have something more than just the main background. It is going to take a very long time to do this, even though it is only, well, just smaller than A4. But I pretty much will bring you along on the journey, because making myself do a video of me painting will help me get me back into the routine of painting. And now that I've got the time for it and I don't have to rely so much on paying off my overdraft, I can now focus on my art a bit more, which is a great thing because it feels a bit more normal in life. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please give this video a like and don't forget to join me on my social medias. And also, if you would like to check out any of the artwork that I have for sale, it is in my comment section, in my description box, in my Etsy account and my eBay selling account. It's all there. Feel free to browse and have a look if you would like to. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video as well. And I shall see you guys for my next one. Bye now.